the logo's coming up right now. I have
We're
no idea
doing
what's going
it.
on.
We're doing
We're
it. We're live.
Okay.
We're here.
Oh, now we're live. Okay, cool.
We're available. We're visible and
Wow.
audible.
Yeah, we have a new sponsor, Audible.
Well, we don't know if like Katie can hear us yet.
Well, we listen to our audibles in our laboratory.
In our
laboratory.
God,
Yeah.
okay. Our
Took me a second.
laboratory.
Wow.
That's a different kind of
Yeah, that's a whole nother hangover.
Yeah. Katie, are you
She's here.
are you
Sounds good.
enjoying us on your brand new comfortable couch that you got? She got a brand new couch. It's a double sectional.
How much cat
Poe
hair is
likes
on
her.
there?
Sectional. Yeah. I don't know, Poe. I don't think Poe sheds a lot. Does Poe shed a lot, Katie? I've never noticed Poe really shed a lot. But then again, we're just covered in black little hairs from the dogs anyway. So, yeah,
Can we informally call this the pregame? This whole section?
Yeah. I mean, why not?
Well, it's not. We've never labeled it before.
Like the pre-show banter. The
the pregame sounds fun.
Yeah. The appetizer. I don't know. Okay, yeah, Poe doesn't shed too much. I didn't think so. He's stirring it up,
I'm
trying
trying
to
to
get
get. I'm gonna do what you do.
that drink ASMR right there.
There's something green in his drink. I'm excited to learn
There
about
is
this.
something drink. There is
It
something.
went all
drink.
to the bottom.
Oh, wait. I got something better. Because I read ahead.
Oh, you're changing your. Didn't you already? We already did that name before, but.
Yeah, but you know.
Oh, okay. But in honor, I got you.
Yeah.
I see where. Did you spell that correctly? It's fine.
I did. Thank you very much. I'm not a good speller.
What's your
writing
drink name?
degree.
Well, I guess you can't say
I
it now.
can't say it now
live.
because we're live, so we'll find out. I already said
It's
it.
gonna be a Liz special.
Oh, that's right.
special.
That's
Yeah,
right. You did.
I did
remember.
say
But not to
it
me.
too. I didn't know. I didn't say it. It'll be a surprise for Brandon.
I'm gonna.
Always
well, no, I'm gonna put
Anyway,
it-
we
I'm
gotta
gonna
get
put it
started
in
because
the note.
Brandon's gonna have to leave in the middle of the show.
I'm gonna
I
put
don't
it
know
in
when
the
the
note.
fuck I'm leaving. I'm gonna leave soon.
All right. Anyway, hold on. I got like hair stuck. To
Let me know when you want the countdown.
All right, count me down.
And in 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cosmos with Cosmos. I'm Liz.
I'm Mike.
I'm Brandon.
Hey, he's here, and we're back for another episode of High in the Sky for
Woohoo.
February
My-
2024.
That's how you spell it.
That's how you spell it.
Yeah, my favorite part of the beginning of the show is looking at Mike, because inevitably in the first 20 seconds, he will laugh under his breath every single time. Every single time. 103 episodes in a row, he'll laugh under
What's
his
so
breath.
funny, Chuckles?
I don't know.
Okay. Fancy physics man, just, you know, he gets a
don't
little...
call me Chuckles. This sounds like his friggin' murder clown.
No, that's Gacy.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's
Already
the
we're off
murder
track.
clown.
Not the
Anyway,
Chuckles.
all right. Speaking of
Hey,
which,
there we go. Good luck
it's,
next week in Six
Hey.
Nations.
it's
I'm just saying.
since it is a Cosmos with Cosmos, even though the Cosmos we never have. What y'all drinking? I'm starting off with Brandon.
Hi. I am drinking white dielectric material in honor.
Yes.
You will cover that later on in the episode.
Yes.
It's just a white Russian with burnt cinnamon stick, which I did on I can't say on air because I just did it before the show, but yeah, it was fun. I did it in front of the camera,
Yeah.
got the thing on
You
fire.
got a good
did
cinnamon
it made sounds.
cinnamon smell.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been lighting my cinnamon sticks on fire for my hot toddies, and it does add a
Ooh,
little
very
nice. A little nice
Yeah.
spice to it.
Where are our matches? Oh, I guess I got matches in the thing.
I was just using that like long one that has the propane in it or whatever. That.
Oh, you're not
Liz,
supposed to do that.
Liz is
Oh
stealing
no
the
no no!
matches to
I'm
light
sorry.
things on fire.
No, I was using the torch. I was using your
You're not
smoker
sup-
torch.
You're not supposed to do that either.
Oh, you got to use regular matches.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a butane.
Yep.
Oh, well, I've been
probably
slow.
doesn't
I've
make
been
it
I've been poisoning myself with cinnamon sticks. Everyone.
Yeah, no. You don't.
I thought
yeah.
I was so cool using the torch, and I was getting
it's
all
fun.
comfortable with it. I was like, "Yeah, I'm the torch master." Now I'm dying of cancer.
But you know the thing is like
Welcome to
creme
the club.
brulee. They use it to do the.
Yeah, this.
So, but you're not supposed to.
But yeah, that's edible creme brulee or edible butane.
Yes, because they make the edible butane. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, Mike, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking what I'm calling a nose first. It was either going to be the nose first or the little copter that could. One of those. So
Brave little copter.
brave little
Nose
copter.
first.
But this is what it looks like. It's what it's really called is a Cuban redhead, and it's got white rum in it. It has Irish Bailey's cream, also coffee liqueur. We use Kimura, but you could use Kahlua, either one. Kahlua is going to make it a little more sweet as opposed to the Kimura, but also a little bit of creme.
All sitting right down there.
All
Nice.
sitting at the
Nice.
bottom.
Nice.
So I'm
It's a
going to be
great
very
spot.
minty at the end of it.
Minty fresh.
Minty fresh.
It tastes good. It
yes.
tastes good. Well, I am drinking Lavender Skies. Little Lavender Skies
Ooh,
today.
that's really cool.
And it's basically just a lavender gimlet. So it's a gimlet, which is gin.
Mm-hmm.
Take it away.
It's really simple. It's gin, lavender simple syrup, and lime juice.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm not a big gin fan, but there are a couple gin drinks that I'm becoming very
Well,
partial
I do
to.
think that the lavender
It's happening.
mixes very well with the
It's happening.
herbal tones of gin.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not a big gin drinker either.
As we are maturing our palates,
Yeah.
we're discovering that gin can be used in small amounts to enhance said taste.
Yes. Look at us. We're growing up, everybody. We're growing up.
I still won't eat eggplant. though.
It's not just vodka and OJ anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, of course, follow us on all the things Cosmos with Cosmos, wherever you get your podcasts and socials, except for on the Twitters. It's at Drinking Cosmos. So,
What's Twitter?
I know. So check us out there. Also, we got some friends of the show that
Hey,
we
we
like
have friends.
to promote. We do have a couple. Check out Wildixia, Wildixia on Etsy, and her amazing art. We have MrProctorShow.com, Ron Proctor, a planetarian out there promoting astronomy and cigar box guitars out into the world. And of course, our good buddy Jack Northrop, who does the Rolling Bluffs Planetarium in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So
Southwest corner.
check out rollingbluffsplanetarium.com for your Midwest planetarium fix. Yes, Brandon.
If you replaced Rock Lobster with Ron Proctor, it sounds fantastic in your head. That's all.
I feel like now
Oh, can we?
Ron needs like a Photoshop of the Ron Lobster.
Well, no, we should get the song from the B-52s. We should get the song and dub in
Ron Proctor.
Ron
when they
Proctor.
do Rock Lobster.
There we go. We can
Anyway.
do that.
How much trouble we get in for doing that?
Well. Anyway, if you prefer more of a short form content than our larger, lengthy diatribes of shenanigans, check out The Shot on YouTube and where you get your podcast. Just little shooters of astronomy for you down
We've
your
done 50
gullet.
of them.
Usually less than
50.
10 minutes.
Shocks
we've
me
done
every
50
time.
of them.
That's
It's a lot of shots.
a lot of shots.
It's a lot of shots.
That's a lot of shots. Always drink responsibly, everybody.
50 shots.
And of course, during the episode, we do have some rules, if you will. If you hear a dog bark, not a dog whine, because they're going to be whining because they're blocked off. But if you hear a dog bark, take a drink. And if there are any Star Wars or Lord of the Rings references, take a drink on behalf of our nerddom.
And new rule today, special rule today.
Special
When Brandon leaves, he must finish his drink and y'all take a drink. Because I got to leave to the airport
Yes.
in like
Yes.
some minutes here. We'll see.
Yes. Okay. All right. I like that rule. Well, you have to let us know. So for
I'll just
those
like
of you,
disappear like Obi-Wan.
just like, poof. So if you're
And
listening,
then your like sweatshirt just drops to the floor. But we need Vader to step on
deflates.
it though, just to make sure.
That's me.
yeah, so if you're listening at some point, Brandon will just be like, peace, and then we'll just have a little shuffling about. So just bear with us during that. But in the meantime, he's here and he's ready, and we're all ready to get
Yeah.
high in the sky for February.
Cool theme song music.
Woo! I can't believe
It sounded
it's-
like
We
that's
do
where
need
we
some
go.
music for this though.
we should. That would be a good spot for a little
Ron
theme song.
Proctor.
I can't believe we're in February almost already, or depending on when you're listening to this. I don't know. It flew by. And our February constellation highlight, since we're still in winter, we still have the nice bright wintertime constellations up there, like Orion, which we highlighted in the January high in the sky. So this time we are highlighting Canis Major,
Ooh,
the big dog, or the great dog, as it were. And Canis Major is marked most notably by a very bright star that makes up the nose of the dog, or the eye of the dog, the nose of the dog.
It's always the nose to me, because of the way it was
known as the dog star.
In the picture.
Yes, the nose. And that is Sirius. It's the brightest star in the nighttime sky, and I'm very serious when I talk about Sirius. Seriously. Sirius XM. So you can find it easily by using Orion's belt. If you don't know what Orion looks like or Orion's belt, you can download a star map application for your phone or just Google the constellation. It is very obvious and easy to spot in the night sky.
And if you're listening to this podcast, you know what Orion's belt looks like.
Most likely. Yes, but you never know. We want to be fair. We don't know everybody's, knowledge levels of astronomy and the sky and everything. But anyway, you can find the 3 stars in Orion's belt and follow it to the east.
What's in the east?
I did it. Did I do it correctly? Did I do the right direction?
Yes.
Yes. I was visualing this last night while I was going to bed on okay, is it west or east? And I was trying to picture it, and because we've been cloudy and rainy, so I haven't been able to see anything in the sky.
Yeah.
So follow Orion's belt to the east, and you'll run right into Sirius. And its name...
You really don't need the belt. I mean,
it's
so
so bright. It's a very bright star.
So bright.
It's going to pop out. It's going to pop out there.
It is the brightest night star, isn't it?
It's the brightest star in the nighttime sky, yes. In fact, its name, and I did not know this, means glowing or scorching.
I didn't know this either.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
That's cool.
And it is not just 1 star, everybody. It's 2!
Hey!
I didn't know that.
Oh,
You didn't know that?
God, I didn't know this. No.
I forgot about it. It's a binary star system, which majority of stars actually are binary star systems. And this is a binary star system that's made up of a main sequence A star, so a very big, very hot blue star, and a faint white dwarf buddy. That is basically what our sun will end up as once it runs out of fuel and its outer layers fluff off and its core shrinks down. It will be a white dwarf.
Can't we call binary systems buddy systems from here on out?
Buddy star systems?
Buddy star systems?
Yes. They're
Sounds
buddies.
great.
I like it.
Oh,
Make it a drink.
I was not, I did not think that was going to happen.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Jack now thinks any deep rumbling is like UPS or FedEx or...
That's a fair point. Okay, so these stars, they orbit each other every 50 years. So that's neat.
Some cool science fiction stories going on there.
Yeah. In the Sirius system. That's where the Joker's from. Anyway. So, the system looks so bright because it's fairly close to us, really. I mean, it's bright. The A star is a bright star, but if it was really far away, it wouldn't be that bright in the sky, obviously. Distance does play a role in how bright it looks in the sky, regardless of the star's inherent luminosity. And it's only 8.6 light years away.
That's next door.
Yeah, so that's in the neighborhood essentially, and it's actually moving closer to our solar system.
See, I didn't
Holy
know that.
shit!
I didn't know that either. So Sirius is coming closer. And it will continue to get brighter over the next 60,000 years.
Did when you were doing the notes research, how close is it going to be?
Yeah,
You know?
that was my question.
You can say I don't know.
I didn't.
But do you know?
I didn't
Do you know
get
who?
that. I didn't.
Do you know who discovered the directions of stars and where they're moving to and from?
Steve.
No.
William Herschel.
Hey, check out our episode on reversals. Out now, wherever you get your podcasts and YouTube. So I do not know how close it will end up being. But as a side note, interestingly, in the year 66,270 CE,
66,270. That's a good callback.
it will be the South Polar Star.
I plan on being here.
It will be 1.6 degrees away from the South Celestial Pole. So currently,
that's really cool,
right? Currently, in the Southern Hemisphere, there is no South Pole star. There's no star near the South Pole, whereas we have.
That's a big movement from where it is to basically 90 degrees south.
Yeah.
That's a big movement.
But it's also 60.
But it's very close to us. So.
Yeah.
So
does that mean it will no longer be in the Northern Hemisphere?
Oh.
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Is it south or is it north?
No, it's a summertime. So Sirius is visible in the southern hemisphere in the summertime, and for us it's a wintertime visibility. So it's visible from both hemispheres. But if it moves because of the Earth's precession, its wobble on its axis, that means that it will no longer be visible in the northern hemisphere, being the South Polar
What a traitor!
Star. Yeah. Get out of here, Sirius. How dare you? How dare you leave us Northerners behind?
As somebody at work would say, what a ship-jumping rat bastard.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. That's very, like, pirate.
Right?
I feel
like that.
I've
only called that twice.
You know what? My drink, I almost had a drink that was called the something, what was it called? Shit. It was the something bastard.
The something
the suffering bastard.
The suffering bastard.
Ooh,
I almost had that drink. It's like bourbon and
name.
gin and some other stuff in it. But I was like,
Its current declination is minus 17 degrees. So 17 degrees south.
Okay.
But 66,000, that's a big fucking movement. To go from 17 to minus 90, minus 17 to minus 90. So.
Now, I'm curious.
The Earth does one wobble every 26,000 years, so that's like...
Yeah,
right.
So, I mean, that helps, but also to be able to make that movement.
And then also because it is moving towards us and is only 8 light years away, wouldn't it be moving faster relative to the other stars as well?
It's going to appear to... Yes.
Appear to move faster.
Right. So, can you imagine, though? Like, there's going to be a time in somebody's lifetime where they will be able to see that Sirius has moved a little tiny bit relative to the background stars.
That's wild.
Well, even if they go back to like Ptolemy, 2,000 years, I'm sure there's the smallest.
Right.
No, but in a single lifetime. Like, we have to go look at, what did the sky look like back then? But in somebody's life, like in a normal person's lifetime now,
80 years,
we can't perceive the movement of the stars. Like, it's not noticeable to us.
So we, in essence, see the same stars that the ancient Egyptians saw. That was like 4,000 years ago. They are kind of in a different place because of the Earth's wobble.
It's basically like if I'm like 10 and I'm like, oh, there's a star, and then I'm 80 and I'm like, oh shit, it moved.
Wait, is that because it's closer to us, or explain yourself? I'm not following.
Wait a minute, what?
Is it that because it's getting closer to us, and I think it's a combination of it getting close to us and precession.
Yes, of course, but in my lifetime, I'm not following.
Right, so it is relatively close to us. I mean, if it is going from minus 17 degrees down to minus 90 degrees, roughly, that is a 73-degree shift in 66,000 years. You're talking about basically a degree a year. No, that's not right. That's not right.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
So, let's see.
That's a degree every 1,000 years.
What's that?
Isn't that a degree every 1,000 years?
A degree every 1,000 years, so 1,000th of a degree. But when it gets closer to us, it's going to appear to move quicker. It's still 1,000th of a degree is pretty quick. And it's going to be getting closer to us, so it's going to move a lot faster.
So we'll perceive that motion.
So you might be able to perceive that it moves a little bit. I'm not saying it's moving like halfway across the sky.
But it could be like a measurable amount.
Yeah, it might be definitely kind of maybe just if you're paying attention to it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on board. I got you.
but it's not a big movement in your lifetime, but it's still, it might be perceivable.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'll have to look at it in my Planetarium software, see what happens.
That'd be a good experiment. Actually, that'd be a good experiment.
Does our software? It doesn't show the movement of stars over thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Yeah, you can
1 million years,
and you can see how the constellations will stretch and change and everything.
I have a new thing I'm going to show off this week.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
It's so great. It's so fun.
Yeah.
All right.
You want me to show you how to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I guess you got to come out here for some training. So serious. So big deal in Canis Major.
You know what else I think is crazy about Sirius? Is the Egyptians use it to figure out when the Nile was going to flood.
Oh my god, I totally forgot to put that in. I was going to put a whole thing about it in. I totally forgot
Let's talk about it for like
about
1 minute.
Y'all do that. I'll do my thing.
It was basically it was like it signaled when the Nile's going to be flooding soon. Basically,
yeah.
It was
so
like, when you see it in the sky,
I think it was when it was first came out of the sun's glare. So the first time that you could see it after it goes from the sun's glare is that hey, the Nile's going to flood soon. Also, Dog Days of Summer.
There it is.
Is related to Sirius because
it's the dog star.
It's the dog star, but also
yes,
when's the hottest days of the year for us here in the northern hemisphere? It's in August, right? Which is when the Sirius is close to the sun, and people were like, "Hey, Sirius's bright light combines with the sun and makes it hot as fuck."
It hot. It doesn't. It doesn't, though, people. It doesn't. It's too far away. We can't feel its heat.
But it's a Dog Days of Summer.
What did you?
Love
Okay.
that.
What did you have, Brandon? You had.
It was a Dog Days of Summer.
It was the Dog Days of Summer.
It's one of my
did I
favorite
steal
things.
your?
Oh no! I
Stole
loved it.
it.
You did a fantastic job.
Stolen it. Planetarium.
All right.
Okay, now,
we'll let you go now.
the dog doesn't have just the one star. It knows it does have other stars, although they are much dimmer in comparison.
Depends what dogs you're talking about.
Well,
that's a fun astronomy joke, by the way.
It does have one of the largest known stars.
Oh.
VY.
See, I didn't know this.
VY Canis Majoris. This is a red hypergiant and a pulsating variable star that's 3,900 light years away.
Can you say red hypergiant with the dramatic verbosity it deserves?
It is a...
He does this every time.
I know.
Only once in a while.
Hypergiant.
Excellence.
And it's... Okay, it is 1,420 times the radius of the sun with a volume 3 billion times that of the sun. No, Brandon, I'll get to your question in a minute. An object traveling at the speed of light would take 6 hours to travel around the surface, in quotes.
That's fucking insane.
Surface. Okay, so just for reference, if you were to travel around the surface, in quotes, of our sun, it would take 14.5 seconds. Okay, it takes 8 minutes for light from the sun to reach us, and we're 93 million miles away from the sun. So if this star replaced the sun at the center of the solar system, it would extend beyond the orbit of Jupiter.
Wow.
This is a big fucking star.
It's a big star.
Like, I can't even conceive,
Nope, my brain breaks.
the size of it.
When our sun is at its biggest, the question is, will the Earth be inside of it?
Yeah, will it make it to the Earth's orbit?
Yeah.
Like, that's...
So this is like,
God.
Okay, hold my beer.
Yeah,
you want
to talk big?
Jupiter.
You want to talk about big stars?
We're going past Jupiter. What's the mass of it, do you know?
I did not look up the mass, but it's going to be real
I'm
massive.
hoping, well, it's got to be huge, right?
It's gonna
You're real massive. Is what it's going to be.
Real massive.
It's a
Can you
technical
imagine
term.
when this thing goes bada boom? That's going to be fun. I wish I was
A big bada boom.
Big bada
Big
boom.
bada boom.
Big bada boom. All right, so... you know what? Actually, I put these out of order. So before we get to the mythology of Canis Minor, Major, I'm just gonna. There is a Canis Minor, by the way, the little dog. It's right above.
line.
It's straight above
It's a straight
the
line.
big dog, and it's just 2 stars.
Yeah.
It's just 2
Interestingly enough,
stars.
you can also use Orion to find it.
His shoulders.
Bellatrix to Beetlejuice gets you to Procyon.
Procyon or Procyon, however you want to
Either
call
one.
it. That's the brightest star in the little dog.
Hey, Jack's with us now.
Hey.
Oh, Jack! I was like, how did he get past the gate? Human Jack. Oh, it's not big. It's just fluffy. Oh, VY Canis Major. Yeah, it's like real
hot cloud.
Then is it not on the main sequence? I'm assuming then it's off the main sequence. It's fluffing out those layers.
Right. So your pulsating stars generally are not going to be on the main sequence.
Oh,
It's not
yes.
big.
Okay.
It's not big.
That's
It's just
fair.
fluffy.
It's just not big. It's fluffy. I'm not big. I'm just fluffy.
Let's not
Yeah.
let's
I like
let's
it.
not
I
size
like
shame
it.
this
Okay.
this star.
No, we don't. We accept stars of all sizes and fluffinesses, and temperatures and luminosities.
Because I'm VY
Oh,
Canis.
stop. Oh, my God. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Deep within Canis Major, there are deep sky objects, of course. Not and the constellations, just a reminder, it's not like these objects are in the constellation. It's not like the stars that are in the constellation are all together. I mean, some constellations you do have stars that are together, but most of them are, tens to hundreds to thousands of light years apart from each other. And the
Right.
same goes for deep sky objects. They're, millions, thousands, whatever. They're not actually like, they're just in this location of the sky. We use the constellations as a map, to help us
Exactly.
find shit that's in the sky, basically. Are we body shaming stars? We're not.
Astrometry.
We don't body shame. All right, so the Milky Way, the band of the Milky Way, actually cuts through the big dog. And it has many open clusters. One of those is NGC 2360. I did this for Brandon.
What is it, Brandon? What's that cluster?
It's Caroline's cluster.
Yes.
Named after Caroline Herschel, who discovered it. So check out our episode on the Herschels out now, wherever you get your podcast.
That was a great episode.
It was really fun. It's an open cluster of stars, so it's a bunch of stars that are like bound together through gravity, but loosely being an open cluster.
They're like a fellowship of stars
It's
bound
a fellowship,
together.
yeah. And they're around 15. Oh, that's a drink.
I was gonna say.
Fucking Jesus. They're around 15 light years in diameter, and it's located 3,700 light years away from Earth, and has been dated to be around 2.2 billion years old.
Okay. Query.
Yes, response.
VY Canis Majoris, the red hypergiant,
Uh-huh.
is only 2,000 light years away from that. Is it associated in any kind of way?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you.
Space is big.
Answer.
But I mean, because it's relatively close.
I
to it
don't
in the sky.
know, but I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
I mean, it's relatively close to it in the sky.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't have that answer for you.
You have to know.
I don't.
You're the expert.
The space is big. The space is big, people. Also in the big dog is NGC 2359, also known as Thor's helmet,
Hey.
or also the Duck Nebula, but Thor's helmet.
Thor's helmets.
It's a relatively bright emission nebula, and it's about 10,000 light years from Earth. So when you Google Thor's helmet nebula, and it does look legitimately like that old school
Yep.
Thor's helmet with like the wings and everything.
If Marvel didn't put that in the movie, they missed out.
And it's they did at one point. There was like a little nod.
Oh,
to it.
they did have it?
Yeah, it was like there was
Yeah,
a nod. There was a
that was
nod to
during
it.
the fight with Hulk in the third one.
Yeah, they nodded to it. So, but the nebula is shaped this way by HD 56925, which is an unstable Wolf-Rayet star that's embedded within it. And
That
these
sounds so cool.
These are the hottest types of stars, so they have all this energy. There you go. Yeah, all this energy that's fluffing, that's coming off of them, and kind of the solar winds of this star basically shaping all this gas around it. Jack says they showed it during a Bifrost jump.
Okay.
Oh, I was wrong. Okay.
The helmet. So our big dog, it is a
Got some
worthy area of observation with telescopes and what have you, and something
Yeah.
just to check out when you got clear skies at night during the cold winter months.
You know what we don't have?
Clear skies.
Clear skies.
You do not have clear skies. Now, of course, with all constellations, there tends to be, or with most constellations, I'll say, there tends to be some mythology surrounding them, behind them. People for since people had eyes, have been looking at the sky and imagining shit up there, making up stories, and
Usually after drinks.
usually after
after
drinks.
drinks.
Usually
Can-
after drinks.
can-
Is that
It was the
historically
original
known?
Cosmos of Cosmos.
Is that?
Can dogs see stars?
They should be able to.
I don't see why not, because they can look up.
Bollocks.
But it's the turkeys that can't, right?
Nice reference.
Isn't it the turkey? But yeah, they should be able to see it.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Do they care or pay attention or go, huh? We don't know.
You know,
We
the
don't
thing
know.
is, though, is they probably have all the physics of the universe figured out, and they're like, we don't need to look at the stars.
I feel like that's dolphins.
I thought that was cats.
Oh, well, also cats.
we don't
well,
give a shit.
It's definitely Poe,
No,
my
it's
sister's cat.
dolphins. Dolphins have the universe figured out. Cats just want to.
They know how to run the universe.
They want to
They have
subjugate
their
everybody.
rule. Yeah, Queen Poe. All right, so mythology of our big dog. There's anyway. Okay, I'm not gonna. In Mesopotamia, it was actually CwC, which was an arrow aiming towards Orion. Of course, not known as Orion to the Mesopotamians. But I didn't look up what Orion
What's the
was.
name of it?
Nope.
Thank you.
Nope. You can Google it. For the Greeks, the Greeks, of course, is where we get our most familiar stories or mythology with the constellations. And there's always like a billion different stories when it comes to the Greeks and what they, saw it as. So one is that it's a dog named Lelaps, which was a gift from Zeus to Europa. Otherwise, it's more commonly seen as one of Orion's hunting dogs, along with Canis Minor. And actually, Canis Minor was a Roman addition, which I didn't realize. So
really?
the Romans actually added Canis Minor in
Oh,
there.
they fucked that one up.
And they're either, these hunting dogs are helping him hunt Lepus the hare, which is also in the vicinity of these constellations, or helping Orion fight Taurus the bull.
Which I really like the latter.
Fighting Taurus the bull.
What
Yeah,
was that?
because it really is like
Because
it's
we don't
a
want to
whole
hunt
story.
bunnies.
Yeah, but you're Canis Minor. You're basically Jack at that point. It's a little wiener dog in the sky. I'm not gonna have Jack
but
fight
listen to that
towards the bull.
bark.
Well-
Listen to that bark.
No, I like.
That's when Leia comes in as Canis Major.
Oh,
with her
yeah.
chompers.
Leia's definitely a Canis Major. So
We have Canis Major and Minor.
can we add that to their names?
Captain Jack Sparrow, Canis Major, Davis and George.
Yes, exactly.
The middle name.
Canis
yes.
Minor, Davis and George.
General Leia Organa, Canis Major, Davis and George. I would just love to see the vet just write that on the
when they have to
board.
write
You got some Inigo Montoya going on there.
Yeah. All right, so aside from the Greeks, in China, it was Canis Major was part of the vermilion bird, and its stars were classified as part of several different constellations, with Sirius called Tianglang, the celestial wolf.
Hey,
Which sounds
just
nice.
as a side note, vermilion bird just brings up anxiety and just
Oh.
because at my place of employment,
Okay.
one of the projects I had to work on was
the
Chinese asterisms.
constellation.
Oh.
That was one of them. And it was.
So you have like PTSD.
That was a
from-
project.
Yeah,
That was a project.
Yeah, the Chinese constellations and astronyms, they're a lot. It's a lot.
There's over 200 of
There's
There's
them.
kingdoms involved.
I mean, it
Lands
is
and
it
houses.
is intensely detailed.
Yeah.
And that just goes to, I would say, the richness and depth of Chinese
Yeah.
culture.
Because we're just like, those two stars look like a dog.
I know. Hey guys, what's that look like?
We're going to call this one
Oh.
I really
the
hope
Great Southern Triangle.
I really hope Ramsey's actually listened to this at some point. Who goes by the American name David, but or Super Dave in email. But Ramsey, if you're listening to this and you put up the vermilion bird, I made that.
Hey, there you go. Moving away from China, the Maori peoples of New Zealand call it the Assembly of Rehua, which included both major and minor dogs and some of the surrounding stars. Sirius is called both Rehua and Takarua. And in Australia, the Tharumba people of the Shoalhaven River, they see it as Wunbula the bat and his 2 wives, Marumbul, Mrs. Brown Snake, and Mutha, Mrs. Black Snake.
That's
I really think
excellent.
this next part.
And so this
kinda funny a
little
bit.
story that they have
Yeah.
apparently is that Mrs. Brown Snake and Mrs. Black Snake, they were both bored of following their husband around, and so they tried to bury him while he was hunting a wombat down in
Okay.
his hole.
Oh.
But they weren't successful, so he spears them, and all 3 are placed in the sky as the constellation Munora.
So basically,
Huh.
what we're learning with this is that when spouses are tired of the other spouse, murdering them seems to be universal.
Yeah,
in
so-
Yeah,
history.
the Seven Onion sister. Well, they don't try
So,
to murder him;
yeah.
they just leave them.
So
But-
Murrumbul and Utah, they are the original Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Earl.
But they weren't
Thanks, 90s
successful.
country music.
They weren't successful though.
So let's get to your mom real quick.
Oh,
Interesting that different civilizations all made up stuff about stars. Yes.
I mean,
Every
that just
society, every culture had a story. They made up their own pictures with the stars.
with how it relates to them and their way of life, because we're at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and our brains all function in basically the same biological way, and so we try to understand the world around us by interpreting the world that's around us
Right.
and how it relates to our specific, cultures and traditions and what have you. And as
Right.
a way to, I mean, in early civilizations, it's not only used as timekeeping and
Tell
you know,
stories.
but as a
moral
way,
morality.
but wraps into the, okay, we know over the years at this time of the year that this is when the rains are going to happen. So we
Yeah,
tie
or
in
the Nile
these,
floods.
I mean,
these-
it's
these-
much watched TV.
yeah, these traditions around it and these stories around to explain why this happens when it does, or to we do dances around this time to hope that this still happens
Right.
every year, to hope that
Just-
we get what should happen.
A quick detour, shortcut to mushrooms.
Shortcut to what?
We have lots of mushrooms that pop up in our backyard.
Yeah. So every society, every culture came up with their own constellations and stuff like that, and you hit on why they did it. But the reason why it's so messed up, the reason why that when we talk about constellations, it's usually Greek constellations.
Because it's white people.
Is yes, because of white people. So a bunch of white people got together and they're like,
Europeans.
how are we going to name this? How are we going to name all these things? So they decided constellations would be named after the Greek constellations.
Well,
Planets would be named after the Roman gods.
yes.
Stars would be Arabic. There's probably other stuff, but
And there's largely a good, and because there's a record, more robust record from the Greeks of the constellations or of star names from Arabic culture, and during the time when the sky was sort of officially being mapped out, it was a period in European history where the ancient classics from Rome and Greece were being revived during the Enlightenment, where they're bringing back
right.
and they're looking for
Nice.
all these
Nice.
historical sources from them. Like, it was a huge, it was a fad. It was a fad. Ancient Greek and Rome became a fad, and so it was like, let's do everything in Greek, and then it stuck that
Right.
way, of
Well,
course.
It's
I
coming in
do
strong
wanna
with
just-
history background
I
there.
do just want to say though that there's I don't know how to put it any other way other than there is a racism involved in this, because if you look at the history of writing stuff down, the Chinese go much further back than the Greeks do. And so
Yeah, but how accessible was that material to...
I think I would say at the point where they decided all this crap was that it was probably pretty accessible. They decided
Right. But we can't... I mean, we're too far... It's too far back for us to really know the intentions or the whatever, and just
no,
that
this
it was...
is all recent. No,
Yeah.
no, the
This was 20th
deciding
century.
constellations are Greeks. the planets are Romans.
Well, they basically just took what had been decided upon for years and was like, let's solidify this in because it's what's already known.
The whole naming convention in astronomy is just messed up.
Right. Okay.
We need a whole episode on that soon.
So, but I mean, there is
Sounds like a shot.
I mean,
and so with that, it feels like it's a good transition because I'm going to finish my drink now and get off to the airport to install planetariums around the world.
Cheers
All right, so we got
to
a drink.
Brandon drinking. We're drinking with Brandon. Actually, I can finish my drink too.
All right. Safe flight, safe journeys. Cheers.
I will hopefully see y'all in the hangover. Or,
All right.
message you.
Message us. Be on chat for it.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye.
We just switch over, right? Cheers. All right. One of my favorite. This is from Federico. One of my favorite lines defining human beings: a talent in finding patterns, but lack context. Yes, constellations are a perfect example. Yes.
They are, yes. Humans, we are very good at finding, like, that's our thing, right? Is pattern recognition. Like, that's our, and everything like that. We have any African civilizations? Yes. And you know what? We are at fault. We are at fault on this show for not, whenever I'm, like, doing research, I mean, it's not like I'm doing in-depth, like, going into the archives of libraries to find, I'm doing it in kind of a lazy way, to be honest. But none of like the resource, like they'll highlight non-Western, and it's usually Mesopotamian and Chinese and some indigenous people's stuff, but not a lot of African stuff comes up at all, actually. And I feel like that is a good point you bring up, Mom, because I've never even really thought about to like dig deep into what are the African constellations or stories behind them. So I think that on a future show, maybe the next High in the Sky, let's highlight something that is known in African culture.
Yeah, maybe we just don't do any Greek constellations, and it's just all.
Well, I think we need to introduce them because that's what is the common thing.
But you do, I mean, right? But you do have Mesopotamia, Chinese, Maori, Australia, which is going to be the Aboriginal people.
Well, yeah, I try to hit like the some indigenous stuff, but I don't think we've ever really, excuse me, it's the drinks, touched on like an African culture. And there's many different African cultures.
Right, but there's also so many societies and cultures across the world. Aztec, Inca,
yeah, but we've
Thailand.
talked about those, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Those are the most common known to talk about.
You.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to some other stuff that's going to be in the sky. That's not the constellations, but some planets and some events that will be in the February sky. For planets, of course, Jupiter's still hanging out. Still good to see in the night sky throughout the month of February. Bright and beautiful. Jupes is sitting pretty up there. And on Valentine's Day or Valentine's evening, Jupiter actually has a date with the moon.
Hey.
So the moon and Jupiter are going to be relatively close together. So you can check them out on Valentine's Day and go outside. You got a date. Or if you don't have a date and you have a date with yourself, go check out Jupiter's date with the moon.
Like Saturn.
Saturn all by its lonesome. In fact, Saturn is only going to be visible until Valentine's Day, and then it sets and will be
behind the sun.
It sets and it'll be too early for observation at night. So I guess it's meeting the sun for its own date for the rest of the month.
I mean, that's a bigger date though.
Yeah, it's true.
Lasts longer.
Yeah. On the 2nd, Mercury is at aphelion, which means it's at its... Yes. Okay.
Are we on?
Okay. I think we're back.
Are we?
I think we're going to find out. Hey, we're back.
I was so looking up other providers.
Oh my gosh. Our internet service has just been...
Sucks.
Crap. It's been crap the past few weeks.
Sucks.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking up new providers.
Also, it took us like 5 minutes after Brandon left to realize that we didn't need our headphones on anymore.
Yeah, we're like talking to each other with
I know,
headphones
and I was
on.
like, wait a minute, we don't need these on anymore.
Meanwhile, we're gonna cut all this stuff out. So on YouTube, it's gonna go from headphones to no headphones.
Anyway, what was I talking about?
You were talking about Men Are From Mars.
Oh yes,
Women Are From Venus.
okay. So, February 20th to 24th, Venus and Mars are hanging out in the southeast in the early morning hours, but on the 22nd, they will be 0.6 degrees apart.
Which isn't much.
All right, so this is known as it's known as a planetary conjunction because from our point of view, they look like they're really close together.
What is it, the moon's half a degree?
Sure. Yes.
I think it's half a degree.
But they're gonna be really close together. So that'll be something to check out on the 22nd. Well, do the 20th and 24th, but the 22nd for that closest approach of them. As far as the other events go, on February 8th is the Alpha Centaurids meteor shower, which is a minor meteor shower, and being that it's the Alpha Centaurids, I assume it's in the southern hemisphere. Because Centaurus is more of a southern hemisphere constellation. And then on the 24th of February is a full moon. And this month's full moon is known as the snow moon due to the heavy snowfall in February.
Unless you're in Oregon.
Yeah, well, unless you're where we live in Oregon. But other names are the Make Branches Fall into Pieces moon.
I like that.
Which I thought was...
I like that, actually. That seems appropriate for where we live.
The ice storm that Oregon recently had. The raccoon moon and the hunger moon. I don't know about the raccoon moon, if they just come out more. I love raccoons. They are cute.
Yeah, very cute.
You know.
They're little, trash pandas, but they're cute.
All right. Astronomy news.
You should do it in 1930s language.
Oh, right. Okay, hold on. This just in. Astronomy news. The latest here on Cosmos with Cosmos. We have Pandora's box has been opened. The Osiris-Rex sample container has been opened. Osiris-Rex, of course, was a mission that launched to asteroid Bennu to collect samples and bring them back to Earth so that we may study what asteroids are made of in the early solar system conditions back then in the day. How did you like it?
That was beautiful.
You're welcome. So Osiris-Rex, which is the Origins, Spectral Interpretation, Resource Identification, and Security Regolith Explorer. They're stretching sometimes with these names. They are stretching. It was launched in September of 2016 to collect samples from asteroid Bennu. And it recently just returned, dropping off that capsule of asteroid material on September 2023. The spacecraft itself did not come back with the samples. It's still hanging out. It was like, here's your materials, and it flew on back out there, and it's gonna go hit up the asteroid Apophis. Ooh. And check it out and study it and see what's going on with Apophis.
Well, in 2029, it was like, at first, it was like, oh, it might be because they thought it might hit us.
But it's not going to hit us. It's fine.
Not gonna hit us
so it dropped off the sample, and they had trouble opening it. Apparently, there was a couple of fasteners that were just being real stubborn and not wanting to open. The fasteners didn't want to stop fastening, basically. No. And so the Astro Materials Curation Team, which, by the way, what a cool team name to be on. Astro Materials. Hey, what do? I'm on the Astro Materials Curation Team.
I know, right?
like that's cool. So they got it opened on January. So September through January, they were trying to open this motherfucker. And so the next step is basically to prepare the material to go into sample trays where they will then be like weighed and photographed and stored at Johnson Space Center. And then people, institutions, whatever, they can then file to like
Do science on them?
do science on the samples. They can apply to study them, basically.
Do some science.
They've collected 2.48 ounces from the sample, and they had a goal of 2.12 ounces. So they collected more asteroid material than they thought they were going to, which is great. So that catalog of samples will be released later this year for study of them, so we can study basically asteroids. They're remnants from the early solar system. They're like these pure remnants of what the solar system was like,
4.5 billion
years ago. Yeah, so they're important to study, to see like what it was like and how things evolved and how things changed.
9 billion years after the Big Bang.
9 billion years after the Big Bang, the baby. All right. We got an update next for Japan's SLIM spacecraft. We talked about the SLIM spacecraft in the past couple, High in the Skies. This is supposed to be basically a new way. It was a test of really accurate precision landing on the moon, because typically when spacecrafts have landed on the moon, it's been like, we hope to land here, but sometimes it lands way over there.
Right.
So this was a test of a really accurate targeted landing system, and overall, it was successful. It did what it was supposed to do, being that it landed where they intended to land it. Towever, it did tip over and land on its nose.
Right. So, nosedive.
It nosedived. It took a nosedive. It landed correctly, but nosedived. It had a few problems then by landing on its nose, meaning that it was basically, it landed 90 degrees rotated from where it needed to be, and so the solar panels were not able to charge the spacecraft.
Right.
It wasn't able to get the power that it needed, and so they had to shut it down. But hope remains while the spacecraft remains true.
Take a drink, everybody.
They hope that they will be able to regain power to it, but I don't know. We don't know if they will.
They'll get some power to
They'll
it.
get some power. Here's a fun piece of news that I thought from phys.org. Milky Way may have less dark matter than previously thought. Interesting.
Especially with that's going to dovetail into 2 weeks from now.
A long time ago, in a galaxy not far away, we're in it.
Take a drink.
Hey! And it was the 70s. It was the 70s, so not that long ago either. But a woman known as
Vera Rubin
was the first to observe that galaxies rotate in a way that can't be produced by physical matter alone. So essentially, there is more mass in the Milky Way galaxy and other galaxies that cannot be seen, that has to be there, that's causing the galaxy to essentially, where the stars are maintaining a constant velocity the further they out from the core.
Right. They're moving faster than they should.
Right,
Basically what it boils down to. But if you want to learn more about Vera Rubin, in 2 weeks, we're going to do a show on her.
Yeah. So the question is, the question at the time was, well, what the fuck? What the fuck is it? Why? What is there that is causing the stars not to, slow down when they should be slowing down further out from the center of the galaxy?
Is we're still asking the
question. We
question.
don't know. We don't have a fucking clue what it is. We don't know, and so therefore we know that it's extra mass. And so, because we don't know what that mass is, it's called dark matter.
Right.
So, new studies using the Gaia satellite measured the circular velocity, so basically the orbital velocity, of about 30,000 stars. And it shows that the velocity remains flat, or remains constant, until a certain point away from the center. And then stars are actually starting to slow down further than they thought they should be slowing down, with the amount of dark matter that has been previously hypothesized to exist in the galaxy. And these stars that they're seeing that are slowing are at the galaxy's edge. They're about 100,000 light years from the core. the Milky Way
So they're
galaxy.
pretty far out.
So they're really far out. So this is weird. Something funky is going on. And it's not a mild decline in velocity. It's like a sharp drop. Like they slow immensely, dramatically.
Right.
Essentially. And so what does this mean? We don't know. More research is needed. And currently it's like, okay, then there is less dark matter in the Milky Way than previously thought is a possibility.
Distribution is different.
The distribution is different than what is thought. So
less and a different distribution.
Yeah. So basically, what that means is we don't know shit about our own Milky Way. Like we still have our own galaxy is continuing to surprise us and confuse us, and we love it. Because that just means we have more to study and more to learn.
We just need to understand what dark matter is.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done.
Well, clearly, because we don't know how to even...
And so it's...
All right.
But in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we're going to learn more about it.
Also from phys.org, I actually got most articles from phys.org, but this is the exact title.
It's physics. It's a physics website, and phys.org.
This is the exact title from phys.org because I thought it was really funny and I enjoyed it. So the title is of this article, Old Smokers and Squalling Newborns Among Hidden Stars Spotted for the First Time. Like, I want to, like, this seems like a Hollywood title.
Like, old smokers.
Old smokers. All right, so basically, what this means is that we're seeing some shit that we haven't seen before. We haven't spotted them before. We haven't observed these types of stars before, basically. So an old smoker is a nickname, I guess, being given to a new type of like super old star that resides at the center of our galaxy, and it's a really old star. So it's basically like a dead star that's fading away. It's radiating away like all its energy, and eventually just fades into almost invisibility before suddenly puffing out clouds of smoke. Hence the name. And they don't know how these puffs of smoke happen. It's basically like an injection of matter, but they don't know like what exactly is causing it. And this research was led by Professor Philip Lucas at the University of Hertfordshire. Gotta be British.
Gotta be in the UK.
Hertfordshire. It's an international team. They monitored almost 1 billion stars in infrared light over the past 10 years. See, science takes a long fucking time, people. And he says that, however, the discovery of a new type of star that throws off matter could have wider significance to the spread of heavy elements in the nuclear disk and metal-rich regions of our galaxy. So it's kind of, looking at the evolution of stars and kind of the material that makes up. There a lot of in the center of the galaxies are where a lot of the older stars do reside. So it's looking at that distribution of matter. So they also in the study detected dozens of newborn stars, also known as protostars. So these are the protostars are hard to observe. We can't really observe them because they're usually shrouded in a cloud of dust and gas. Their cocoon, their womb, if you will, as they collect material and get hotter and hotter and hot enough to then begin nuclear fusion and ignite, which then blows off their womb of a cocoon, and they reveal themselves to us,
the rest of the universe,
to the universe as newborn as stars. Okay, but while they're forming, we don't really see them, and so what they're observing is that these protostars are going through like extreme outbursts as they collect material from their cocoon of gas and dust, and so like as that material falls on them, it's causing these sort of like outbursts of energy, these like explosions, if you will, that are happening. And these outbursts can last for months or years or decades. And so they've found 32 erupting protostars, so to speak.
Wow.
And so that sheds light on how stars form, but then also with all these eruptive outbursts, like how do planets form through that, because it's a very volatile environment.
Right. Should we get to In Memoriam?
Oh, you just want to speed right past a lot of things. You think we're going too long?
Yeah, we've gone a little long. And we can get to those in the Hangover.
Oh, in the Hangover. All right. Okay, let's do that. We can do that. All right. Who's leading the show? It's not me. All right. So more news to be in the Hangover. So check out the Hangover. We will go to the In Memoriam. We don't have an In Memoriam every high in the sky.
Thank fucking goodness, though.
Yes, but this time we do. And so we have two. Our first In Memoriam. Cheers to Ingenuity, the best little copter that could. Ingenuity. That was bad timing on my part. Ingenuity is the first aircraft on another planet. Mm-hmm. The first flying object that we've had. That we just were like, let's fly some shit on another planet. All right, it came.
Let that sink in for a second.
Yeah, it arrived on Mars with the Perseverance rover. And really it was a test of the technology, of the capabilities, and it was supposed to only do like 5 test flights over the course of a month, and Curiosity ended up doing
Ingenuity.
Sorry, there's so many fucking Mars robots with the similar type names. Ingenuity ended up doing 72 flights over the past, 3 years now that it's been there? 72 flights. It holds the record, of course, because it's the only one. It's the only one! It's the only spacecraft to fly on another planet. Unfortunately, recent observations of Ingenuity show that one or more of its rotor blades has been broken.
Yeah, and it can't fly again.
And it can't fly, so its mission has come to an end. Just like Mars exploration, though, our rovers and shit tend to last a lot longer than they're supposed to, so this is a huge win.
NASA knows what it's doing. They're like, hey, it's only
going
to last for 3
weeks. NASA knows
and
their shit.
And then when it lasts for
it's
1,000 years.
It's like in Star Trek. It's like a Scotty. Or LaForge when they're like, how long will it take?
Yeah,
and they're
Scotty
like,
talking to LaForge.
And it's like, you tell them.
Yeah, Scotty's like, how long is it really going to take? Yeah, so Scotty asks LaForge how long something's going to take to fix, and LaForge gives him the answer, like, say 10 hours, we'll say. And then Scotty's like, oh, so how long is it really going to take? And LaForge goes, 10 hours. And Scotty's like, you didn't tell the captain that, did you? Yeah, so.
You say longer, so it makes it look like you get shit done faster.
You gotta look like a miracle worker.
So its first flight on Mars was April 19th, 2021. It basically
10 feet.
10 feet. It's gotten as high as 24 meters. Its longest flight was 149.7 seconds.
On Mars.
On Mars.
Of all places.
On Mars.
This is not on Earth somewhere. This is on Mars with a much thinner atmosphere.
Yeah, to all the Earth drones, Ingenuity's like, hold my fucking beer.
I know, right?
You guys don't know don't know shit. Our next and last In Memoriam is to Arno Penzias. Arno Penzias may be familiar. Penzias and Wilson.
Very first shot, by the way.
Was it one of our very first shot? Basically, they discovered the cosmic microwave background radiation, the CMB, basically the as close as we can observe to the Big Bang.
Yep.
And they won a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1978 for discovering this.
Accidentally.
And Mike will give a little recap of the discovery.
All right, so Big Bang happens, right? And so...
Which is not a Big Bang at all. It's a misnomer. It's more like a...
just an eruption of space and time and energy.
Things exist.
God, it sounds so religious. But anyway, All right. So, in the Einstein comes up with the general theory of relativity. One of the things that eventually comes from that is, hey, the universe started with a Big Bang. There's a lot of points between Einstein and that, but we get there. And it came out that, hey, there has to be an afterglow from this big explosion, quote unquote explosion that caused the creation of the universe. And there were astronomers that were looking for it.
Would this be like a universal orgasm?
Yeah. So, and so there were...
Gotta get those old smokers out.
Right, I know, right? Lisa squabbling, what is it, newborn?
Lisa squad. The old smokers with theirs.
Right, so there were actually astronomers that were building telescopes to look for this background radiation from the creation of the universe, the Big Bang. And there were two guys at Bell Labs in New Jersey, and they had this big telescope that basically looks like one of those horns that, like, from the 1800s that people put in their ear.
Oh, yeah, when they couldn't hear anything, it's like
yeah, that's what
was that, dearie?
I know.
Can you please speak into my horn?
Exactly. And so they were getting this hiss, this just low-level background hiss. Okay, good. And they couldn't get rid of that. They could not explain it away, no matter what. They aimed it at New York City. They're in New Jersey, so it's across the river from New York. And they aimed at it to try to remove it.
What did they think it was inside? What did they find inside of the telescope?
They thought maybe it was Brandon's drink. White dielectric material. Which means...
Pigeon shit.
And so they swept that all out and the guy that was at a university nearby, he had found out that, all right, so Penzias and Wilson had found out that that astronomers were looking for this echo of the Big Bang, and they felt like they found it, and so they published it really quick.
The first to publish is the one that gets the credit. So.
There was, and I can't remember his name, but there was, listen to the shot, and I'll give you his name, but there was at a nearby university, not very far, he found out about it. He talked to them and found out about it, and he told his crew, well, we've been scooped. And he was putting all of this time and effort in building a radio telescope to find it. And
all you needed was one that was already there, covered in pigeon shit.
So I don't want to minimize Penzias and Wilson's discovery because it is monumental.
Accidental.
They do deserve it.
Accidental.
They do deserve it, but it was so accidental. And they got a Nobel Prize for it.
I mean, I feel like that's a lot of what science is like accidental kind of
things.
There's
a fair amount. There's a fair amount of accidental stuff.
In fact, there's an accidental one when we go to The Hangover. That was kind of an accident in a news article that I found on something that they.
So yeah, I mean, here's to Penzias, 90 years old.
He passed away on January 22nd, and neither one of us knew he was still alive. I think because we just assumed. We just assumed, like, oh, this happened a while.
But you know what's weird? Is I generally think that some of these characters from history are dead, generally.
Yeah. Most characters from history are dead, to be fair.
Right. I never assumed that with Penzias and Wilson.
Really? Because you're a note that says he was still alive? Question mark. Brandon did that.
Brandon had it.
Brandon.
There was a third person to this trio.
I forgot. He left already. He's on a plane.
So because I want to say it's because the Nobel Prize that he received with Wilson has happened in my lifetime. So now I just kind of assume that some of these people are still alive.
Ooh, Jack says 1 year after a Nobel Prize in Science, most end up, I'm going to say, I think he meant dead, not death.
Wow. It's like the King Tut curse.
Maybe
but
they've been caught in a dimension gasm.
I'm just going to give a couple examples where that did not happen.
Okay.
Kip Thorne.
All right.
Penzias and Wilson.
I wonder if Kip Thorne
Thor.
and Rip Torn ever got together in their life. Can you imagine? Just a little dinner meeting with Kip Thorne and Rip Torn. It'd just be fun. It'd just be fun. It's the Kip Rip team.
It would be great if they were married, but Kip's married somebody else.
I'm sure.
All right, anyway.
I'm sure Rip Torn was married to somebody else too. I don't know.
That'd been great.
I don't know.
All right.
All right. So we've had some losses in 2024 so far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you going to correct my year?
No.
Like, wait.
No, because it's just wait a minute. 2024.
Yes, 2024 is where we're at. We're almost into February. We'll be in February by the time I put this up on actual, not the live stuff. But
all right, anyway,
still,
continue.
sorry, the dogs are making sounds. But still, a lot of exciting stuff going on. A lot of exciting research and things to see. Of course, check out The Hangover following the show, and will be is uploaded a week after our normal shows that you can check out. And we're going to talk about a couple other articles that were in the news. Rip Torn was married 3 times. Of course he was.
And I'm going to want to address your mom's question about dark matter and The Hangover.
Yeah, you will, because all right. Yeah, this is when Fancy Physics Man gets excited. Anyway, that's our high in the sky for February 2024. Follow us on all the things. Cosmos with Cosmos on pretty much everything except the Twitters, which is at Drinking Cosmos. You can find us on Spotify. I guess Google Podcast is going away. But Apple Podcasts, I guess they're just turning into YouTube. I don't know, but YouTube primarily. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Cheers, everybody. See you in 2 weeks. Vera Rubin.
If you're with us now live, hang tight. We will be back with The Hangover.
Cheers. Why is it? Oh, because that.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back.
I told him he didn't need his headphones on. Do you want me to here? I'll
I
adjust
feel
the window
like-
size there.
I don't know. I feel.
Do you feel professional with headphones on?
I feel professional.
Hey, okay. Poll to the audience. How do we look more professional? Headphones off. Headphones on. Anyway,
It'll be more professional when I can hear you.
welcome to The Hangover with Cosmos. Brandon, okay, Brandon's in chat. Brandon, as soon as you left, we lost internet for about like 10 minutes, by the way. I just want to let you know. And we had to skip a bunch of news, and we're going to do that news now.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
I'm going to find where we were. All right.
It's with.
Yeah, I know. I found it. Hold on. I got something in my eye. Look at that.
It's just
Here we go.
Lisa. We're with Lisa.
We're with Lisa. Anyway, Brandon says I hold the universe together.
Okay.
You do. 10 minutes of closet with just Brandon. Let's imagine that. It would just be like, sing into the microphone but look in different directions like ABBA. Do they have the headphones on? Is it like a, I don't know what to.
Oh, like we'll sing
what's an ABBA song?
I don't know. Dancing Queen.
Dancing Queen. Yeah, my big fat Greek wedding. I don't know.
Dancing Queen. No, that's a different movie.
Okay.
It was.
Anyway,
Wasn't it called Dancing Queen or something like that?
I don't. Sure. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Cosmos, The Hangover. This is where we're at. All right. So
anyway,
continuing on the main show, we have some
Lisa.
more news articles. I'm gonna pull up my. Get down to business.
Because of your work.
Brandon commented and said I looked very professional for today's episode.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia.
All right,
Mamma Mia. Okay. All right. So, Fizz.org, new spacecraft approved.
Hey!
Yay! Lisa, the Laser Interferometer Space Antenna. It's going to study gravitational waves in space and will go into orbit in the 2030s. Currently, we have spots on Earth that measure gravitational waves. LIGO.
Oh, what's the one in Italy? There's one in Italy. Damn it.
Federico, if you're still listening, you can help us out there. Being Italian, I would assume you would know that. That may be just a generalization on my part as an American, that you would know all things Italian.
No,
but I'm going to go there. 2030s are only 6 years away. Don't do that, Brandon. Don't make time real. I don't like it. But anyway, it's really hard to study gravitational waves on Earth because, like, there's a lot of other things on Earth that are making waves, so to speak, other than just America. And so in space, it's like the better place to study the universe. Virgo.
Yep.
It's best to study space in space, actually, really, because the Earth interferes a lot. We have a lot of Earth stuff that interferes. And gravitational waves are hard to measure because they're very, like, we're talking about saying black holes colliding, super far away, and the gravitational waves they produce while close to them, probably extreme, but out here, far away, it's like very slight, minute disturbances in the force.
Oh.
We don't do the drinks on
right.
Hangover, but I'll take one for it because actually it was pretty.
It was good.
I'm kind of proud of that one.
But to put it in perspective, LIGO,
in Washington
and Louisiana, and Virgo over in Europe, they have to also factor in just a truck driving down the interstate.
So I meant, like, the Earth has a lot of vibrations. There's a lot of different things making waves.
Right.
Earthquakes, trucks, whatever.
So
people, all the billions of people
in.
walking around. I don't know.
Right, but the lasers are so sensitive, they have to actually factor that in.
Yeah, they can pick that up, and so you have to do a lot more work to remove the shit that is not...
Yes, remove the background noise.
Yes, exactly. So Lisa has been approved. It's not... That just means, like, they've laid out the concept, the designs, all of it, and they're like, all right, you're a go to start production, basically, on it. And what it has these super precise optical benches at the center of the spacecraft that send and receive laser beams between the LISA spacecraft, and they combine these laser beams together to produce signals that contain signatures of gravitational waves. Then my brain dies because I'm like, I don't know what's happening, but lasers.
It's basically doing the same thing LIGO does.
Okay, yeah, so it sends a laser and then something that disrupts that laser beam, and then they look at it,
right?
And
So
they go, is this a gravitational wave?
The lasers are going to be in harmony with each other, and then when the gravitational wave comes through,
it disrupts that harmony.
It disrupts the harmony, and you're able to pick that up.
Brandon thought on it. Since this is The Hangover, if he had 10 unexpected minutes to himself in the show, he'd read the astronomy news with his best Walter Cronkite impersonation.
You know, Walter Cronkite, or 1930s, newsreel.
This just in, the LISA spacecraft has been approved.
I think that's how we should do all of our news.
But Jack says Diet Death Star dish. I like it. All right, so Sky and Telescope magazine. Milky Way, more like Pickly Way. That's my headline. More like Pickly Way. So the Milky Way may have started out more like a pickle in shape. A pickle. Everybody imagine a pickle right now. You're welcome. So distant dwarf...
Dill. Is it like one of those smaller pickles?
No, like a dill
Like just
pickle.
a regular dill pickle?
Like a regular dill
or
pickle.
Smaller?
No. Like a regular dill pickle.
I'm going to go
Like
with one of the sweeter,
like a pickle
ones.
Rick. Like a pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick?
Pickle Rick. You remember Pickle Rick from Rick and Morty? Pickle Rick? I'm Pickle Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Pickle Rick.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay, so distant dwarf galaxies have been observed to have a stretched out shape, some looking like pickles. Now, I would like to point out, and what I saw in this article is apparently there are some articles that are relating to them to bananas. They are not banana shaped. They do not have the curve of the banana. So they are not banana shaped. They are pickle shaped. Get it together, media. Anyway, follow the science. All right, so these types of galaxies can become like Milky Ways of today. There are nice spiral galaxies like we are. So James W. Webb, the James Webb Space Telescope, naturally at this point, I mean, come on, is able to detect longer wavelengths of these galaxies and can probe farther into space and much more back into time, as it were, to see these galaxies in like this much younger universe. Viraj Pandya of Columbia University, he said that the likelihood of different shapes within a group of galaxies are that their methods are statistical in nature. Okay, so this is based on the statistics of what they're seeing. Is that these early galaxies tend to have this pickle shape. They thought that maybe it was like a stretching of light or whatever. They weren't seeing the elongation was like an artifact, but it is actually the shape of these galaxies. These young galaxies in this young universe is to be pickle shaped.
Right.
Yeah. And then they lose that pickle shape and become like a spiral galaxy or some shit.
Yeah,
and they also thought they were seeing them.
They
also thought they were seeing them like we view, say, the Sombrero Galaxy. Google Sombrero Galaxy, you won't be disappointed. Where we're looking at the galaxies kind of edge on. We're seeing the flat disk of them more so, but that's not the case. It's actually the shape of them is pickled. And they did this whole like plotting of these galaxies and their shapes, and there was a lot of simulations and stuff that has been done during this for this research. And so this is what they're basically seeing, that galaxies like our Milky Way could have started out pickle shaped.
This
like
might have some scientists
pickles.
a little salty.
I like just to say pickle. You could say that the universe might be in a pickle. Anyway.
Or at least these island universes might be in a pickle.
Yeah. Feeling a bit pickly out there. So Sky and Telescope, also another galaxy, article about a galaxy. The invisible galaxy.
No, see, this is fascinating to me.
The invisible galaxy. Can you imagine the invisible? But it's not invisible because we can see it. But what's not in it? Stars. A galaxy that doesn't have stars.
So that to me
What
is
the
just
fuck?
fascinating.
So radio surveys, and this was actually by accident. It was found by Karen O'Neill at the Green Bank Observatory, where they
Which is on the East Coast of the U.S.
basically they found a galaxy with no visible stars. It only has gas in it. It's only made of gas. Like, what the fuck? It's J0613 plus 52 is part of a survey of 350 dim and diffuse galaxies. So these are galaxies that aren't very bright. They have little star formation to them. And this galaxy in particular is 270 million light years away in the upper part of the constellation of Auriga, which is like an eagle carrying a baby.
Yeah, but it looks like a stingray.
Yeah, and seen in the radio, this galaxy has 1 billion suns worth of quickly rotating hydrogen, but it's in an organized way. So it's not just this random distribution of hydrogen. It's organized. And so the behavior of this would indicate that it should actually be a normal massive spiral galaxy, like our Milky Way galaxy. But it's
But
not.
they don't see any stars.
It has no star formation.
Okay,
So-
hold on. Let's put this in perspective, though. 270 million light years away is really close to us. That is 13 billion years after the Big Bang. You would expect to see stars in a galaxy that is only
You should.
is that close to us.
However,
They
this
don't.
this galaxy, what's unique about it, it's a loner. There's nothing nearby it. It's basically in like an empty patch of space essentially. There's nothing near the galaxy. No other galaxies are close enough to it, are nearby it to disrupt that gas of the galaxy, to compress it, to stretch it. All these frictional events, I'm making that up, that would then
It's not far.
induce star formation. All right, so there's nothing to trigger star formation, and it's very rare to find something like this, and so it's really a thing that is worth a lot more study. Because I mean, there are other dim and diffuse galaxies out there that have like a few stars, but never before has there been a galaxy which we think of as basically a collection of stars, dust and gas, a galaxy with no stars.
Right. So I am so far removed from this. Like, just intellectually, I don't have the research and all this kind of stuff. But to me, it just seems like that to have a galaxy, it seems odd that you need another galaxy to trigger star formation in another galaxy. And I would think that it would be more about the density of the gas within this one galaxy, and these other galaxies don't matter. And so I might be looking at this completely wrong, but that to me, that since this galaxy of gas is not having any little clumps of gas collapse down to a star, means that this is extremely uniform gas, and that just seems
just spread out
so
and
unlikely.
right. Well, and this is because it's so rare and to find something like this, then it gives an insight and more point of study into, okay, how do galaxies form? What is that galaxy formation like? Because since there's nothing nearby it, is that just the gas within a galaxy enough to start star formation, or do you need, the gravitational influences, which we would think galaxies in themselves are so spread out anyway, even the ones that are nearby each other, but having a galaxy nearby, and when I say nearby, I'm, the ranges could be not distances we can comprehend still, that gravitational influence then is enough, like Jupiter disrupting, asteroids from hitting the Earth or something. It needs that to stir up the gas. Otherwise, the gas is just, without any kind of gravitational influence, that gas is just existing, right?
Right,
like you
right.
need
No,
some
it
sort
no
of,
exists. You do need gravity.
You need Newton's principles of gravity and
Law of
equal and opposite reaction.
No, you need Newton's universal theory of gravitation, but like for our Milky Way, stars have been around for a very long time, and I can see, like back in the early days of the universe, where galaxies would influence the formation of stars in another galaxy, because galaxies were so much closer together, but 270 million light years away.
But you have nothing else near anywhere in the vicinity.
Right, but still, at this point in the game, I would think that you would still have gravitational forces occurring within that galaxy, where the gas
maybe you need
still,
more. You need more. You need more disruptions, and that you need that more gravity.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you to. Like,
yeah, I can't answer it. I don't know. I just know that they found it and it's there. It has no stars. I don't know why. It just is.
I'm not looking for you to explain it.
I'm not fancy physics woman.
I'm really and truly not looking for you to explain. I'm trying to understand this.
Okay.
And
Brandon says gravity is the straw that stirs the drink.
Yeah. So this really is these are really kind of like hypothetical type rhetorical questions. And so
how? What? Why? Where? When? We don't know.
They're all rhetorical.
But it's the Batman of galaxies. It's the Dark Knight.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is really cool.
Yeah. But then it's like, it's like, you would think of a galaxy, like, has, like, a galaxy far, far away, there's shit in it. But no, this galaxy far, far away is just gassy.
Right, but
it's
that's
just
still
gas.
Shit. That's still shit. That's still shit, though.
Eventually it will become shit, but right now it's just gas.
It's just gas, but, this really is a snapshot of what the extreme universe of the...
And how we don't understand it.
Well, this is a snapshot of what the extreme early days of the universe look like, where you did have just nothing but gas in the universe. And so it has to clump together and to create the stars, right? And so these clouds of gas have to collapse to create the stars. It's just, to me, mind-boggling that this galaxy has existed. Either this galaxy is extremely young, extremely fucking young, or...
I think it's really old, actually. I didn't note it.
Okay, so if it's really old...
I think it's old, but I didn't note it.
Okay, but if it's really old...
So.
All right, that goes to my next point, which is if it's really old, how did this survive for roughly 13 billion years?
Near it.
12 billion years to where star formation did not happen. It's a very interesting, dynamic, and it would be a very interesting history for this one thing to understand. I'm not so sure that we will ever understand it. It's such a bizarre case. It's a bizarre case.
You heard it here, folks.
No.
You heard it. Fine.
Okay, we understand generally how the physics of things works.
Do we?
Generally.
Okay.
And so, this is such an odd case that I'm not so sure that it's going to rewrite history books or astronomy books, but this is I don't know. It's such an odd thing, and this isn't. I just want to let everybody know that I did read these notes prior, and I did read this, and I found it fascinating. I still can't wrap my brain around it.
Did you go find the article and read it?
I did not read the article, but I do find it just a very fascinating thing.
Well, I mean, it just goes to show that we really don't understand. Like, we have so much to learn about galaxy formation, star formation, gravity, how all these things
Right.
take place. I mean, it's like how for our solar system, for us, it's like, okay, you have the terrestrial worlds closer to the sun, these gas giants further out, but then we're finding all these, extrasolar planetary systems where the gas giants are closer to the sun, and we're like, wait a minute, we're the oddballs, like, we're the ones that are weird when and so it's like kind of like, wait, how does this work? How does this did Jupiter start out closer and migrate out? We don't really have those concrete answers yet, because we're still just learning and figuring out.
Right, because you always have to start with what you know.
Yeah, you
and so
take the data points that you have.
You start with the solar system, and then you use that that's your baseline that you then use to compare to other solar systems, and when things change, your baseline changes. Same thing with the story of Pluto and the planets in our solar system, but it also is the story of galaxies.
The invisible galaxy.
Right, and so this is just a new wrinkle.
Is it Kevin Bacon in galaxy form?
So this is a new wrinkle, and this is going to impact two things. Oh, wait a minute. It's going to impact two things, because you were going to say something, which, I can see it.
It was.
It's going to impact how our understanding of how stars form, but also our understanding of how galaxies form. Because this should not exist.
Yeah.
And so, because one is going to affect the other, and yeah, interesting. Now you can say whatever it is.
Oh, it was just like, wait, was Kevin Bacon the Invisible Man, or was he in that movie with the hands, with the idle hands or something, with the invisible hands? I don't know. That's all I was going to say. It wasn't going to contribute any intellect whatsoever.
Invisible Man blind. That's all I know.
If you're invisible, you shouldn't be able to see.
You cannot see.
Is it?
You can't see if you're invisible. You can't see.
Then are all blind people invisible?
No, because you can see them.
Should they be invisible?
They should, because no, like, so if you to be able to see, your eyes absorb light, and I've said this before, the Invisible Man can't see. Otherwise, because
it
if
would
the
just be
Invisible
floating
Man,
eyeballs.
No, there wouldn't be floating eyeballs. But what would be interesting, though, okay, so if the Invisible Man can see, that means his invisible eyes have to absorb light, right? So if you're walking behind the Invisible Man, you're going to see just two dark patches. It will be freaky, because that's where the eyeballs are absorbing
maybe
the
that's
light.
what ghosts are invisible people. And Brandon says, what? That's a quote from Jaden Smith. How can mirrors be real if our eyes are real? What? Why?
Wait a minute. What?
What?
How can mirrors be real if our eyes are real?
That makes
no sense.
No sense. Mirrors are just glass, and glass reflects
Well, it's
light.
not even well, it does. It does reflect, but it's also that silver layer up underneath it. What? I mean,
I don't know if I should be worried. Should we be worried for the youth of today, or is that because we're old enough now that we're now those old people that are like, I'm worried for the youth of these kids these days don't make any sense. Society's on a downward stroke.
I think there are certain people in the world, because of their status in the world, and I do not know how to say this in any other kind of way.
It's just simply these are the questions from a Nepo baby.
Right. They think that they have, anything that comes into their brain is some sort of
Man, we're really not holding our punches, are we?
So anything that pops into their brain, they think that it's an original thought, and nobody has ever thought that shit before. Well,
imagine when the mirror was first invented by whoever first invented the mirror, and people lost their shit being able to see in the mirror.
4,000 years ago, when the Egyptians came up with these things, they thought of this question.
We
Jaden.
still think that.
So, Jaden, catch up.
We
You
still
need to
think
catch
mirrors
up.
are portals and like are path of portals to another dimension. Like photographs capture your soul.
Well, there were. Oh my God! Okay. When we worked at the Science Center, there was some. He was in charge of and when people come in and buy tickets,
Guest experience.
guessing. Yeah, where they buy the tickets.
Guest experience.
So he was in charge of that, and he would not allow people to take his picture because he thought it would take his soul. And I just want to go.
What?
You're working at a science center.
Was he Amish? Was he from the 1800s?
No, and I never could figure out if he was being serious or if he was just kind of joking on it. But yeah, he wouldn't allow it to happen. It was so dumb. I do want to get to your mom's question though.
Oh
about
yes,
dark
what was
matter.
my mom's question? I can
Eight
scroll.
years
Do I need to
ago,
scroll
your
up
mom
in
asked,
chat here so you can?
Yeah, it was something like, does James Webb Space Telescope go through dark matter?
Does JW pass through any dark matter?
Right. So, does James Webb Space Telescope pass through dark matter?
Like its infrared sight capability? I mean, it's
No, see, I read that as very literal, as
Oh.
like a 3-year-old, where does James Webb actually
pass through, literally pass through.
Literally pass through it.
Yes,
the answer
that's
is
a good discussion.
yes. I mean, dark matter is going to be everywhere.
It's everywhere, right? Is it
Yeah.
here right now?
I mean, it's concentrated. It is. It's concentrated.
I mean, there are
more
neutrinos,
than-
right? We got neutrinos
Well,
going through
okay.
us.
We don't know what dark matter is.
We know what neutrinos are.
We do know what neutrinos are, but Jade was giving a lot of
Dark matter is what happens after I have my morning coffee. Boom,
Yeah.
bada boom.
No pun intended. All right. No, I mean, dark matter is more concentrated than dark energy. Both of them are pretty much everywhere.
And we don't know what either of them are.
So
And can't detect them.
if James Webb, okay, so if dark matter is made up of what we call WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles,
Fucking wimps.
then yes, James Webb is passing through it all the time. If it's made up of machos, then no. Machos are massive,
The jocks of the universe.
massive halo compact objects. So you're talking black holes, neutron stars.
We can analyze it, but only because of its gravitational effects on what's surrounding it. So, example for our Vera Rubin episode and the rotation of galaxies and the stars within galaxies is that the further out from, just like with the planets, that the further out from the central object you are, the slower an object should move. But with the galaxy, we're finding that the stars actually speed up a bit. Although now we're fine.
Okay,
Well,
they're going faster than they were.
They're going faster than they're supposed to be at the distances that they are from the core of the galaxy. Except now, apparently, they are at the edge, dropping off quite a bit. But
dropping off a cliff.
With the normal amount of matter, physical matter that we can observe, so stars, planets, nebulae, the observable matter in the universe is not enough to have the stars at so and so distance from the sun moving as fast as they are. So that means there is some extra matter there. There's some extra mass there that we cannot detect that's allowing these stars to move faster than they should.
Right. Yes.
In a nutshell.
In a very long nutshell, yes.
Educated intellectual nutshell. My non-fancy physics nutshell of my brain.
Basically, the further out from the center of the galaxy you go, the stars are moving faster than they should. The galaxy would actually break apart. Stars would go flying out of the galaxy.
So there's something also then holding them.
So there's something that is holding them in, and that would be, and because we can't see it, we don't know what it is. We call it dark matter.
Yes.
The only way that we know that it exists is because we infer it from the speed at which these stars are going.
So it's basically like a gravity binding material.
It is. Yes.
A gravity binding material we can't see.
And if you want to see where the dark matter is in the universe, just bring up a map of any universe and you'll see what look like little spider webs going through the universe. That's where all the dark matter, these filaments, that is where the dark matter is.
And it's holding basically the galaxies, everything kind of together. But then you have dark energy, which is not matter. It's not mass. It's some sort of energy that's responsible for the universe expanding and accelerating.
Accelerating, that's the thing.
Accelerating and expansion. So without dark energy, then we should see what the universe. Like we can measure galaxies and we can see them. So this is the famous. It's a balloon experiment. And you take a balloon and you put a bunch of dots all over it, and then you blow up the balloon, and all of the dots then expand at the same rate apart from each other. And
that's Hubble's law, yeah.
But then all of a sudden with that balloon something happens and they start just going out faster when you would think you run out of energy and they'd all should come back in and collapse in on itself, but they're not collapsing in on themselves. They're going faster and faster, like it's Willy Wonka's tunnel, and it just keeps going and going. And has dark energy.
You got there eventually. Yeah, so it's two different things. Dark matter wants to pull things together with gravity. Dark energy wants to push it apart. Mm-hmm. We don't know what either one of these are. We know that dark energy is a little more dominant in the universe. And so, up until 1998, the question was, will the universe continue to expand forever at basically a constant rate?
With a big crunch.
Or will it be a big crunch and where gravity brings everything in? Mm-hmm. And so they did this using the Hubble Space Telescope. They did this study. It was with, I think, supernovae, in distant reaches of the universe. And they were able to figure out that the universe now is expanding faster than it was in the early days.
And you would think that it should slow down.
It should slow down.
Or, so what's causing it to?
Or it will continue at the same rate. And so, so 1998 was our first, look at this thing called dark energy. We still don't know what it is. And I think for dark energy, it's going to take new physics to understand what it is. For dark matter, not so much.
Just maybe new technology?
Well, it's just going to be a new understanding of, what's there and what could be causing it.
Yeah, and it doesn't affect the telescope's movement. Think of dark energy as more of, like, not a localized thing, but as far as, like, on a galactic scale. Yeah. A galactic scale of gravity, of a galactic glue, if you will. Galactic glue.
Exactly. So the amount of dark matter that James Webb is experiencing is really the same amount that we're experiencing, which really is quite insignificant when it comes to like Newtonian physics, which is what you use to place James Webb where it's at. And so
Lagrange point 2, 1 million miles from the Earth.
Yeah, so you basically can ignore dark matter. You can ignore dark energy with regards to James Webb.
You've got to think larger scales for both of them and their effects, basically.
Yeah. Though I this does remind me, and this is such a detour, but when I was much younger, and I had broken the news to my family that I was going to go into physics
instead
at Clemson.
Of
engineering. Because I originally started off as a mechanical engineer, but I got 2 messages from my family. Eventually, I got a third, but I did get 2, and one of the messages was from my Aunt Virginia. May she rest in peace. Was, so you can write prescriptions now.
What? Not physician.
No, but that's what she thought.
So what prescriptions was Aunt Virginia wanting?
I don't know. I should have asked.
That's the question.
I should have asked. So what do you want? No, yeah.
Get that notepad out. You have too nice of handwriting for Dr. Scribble.
I know.
Yes, he has very nice tiny handwriting. It's beautiful.
You're so biased.
No, it's really nice.
Okay. But anyway, the second, and this was in the form of an email, which, first of all, I was like, my grandmother can send emails?
Wow.
So she wanted to remind me of God in the universe and how she forwarded me this whole thing because apparently physics is like the devil. I don't know, but
because it explains shit.
It explains the universe without religion.
Of things that some people don't want explained.
Right. So I get this email from my grandmother, and this is probably from an AOL account.
Oh, yes, definitely.
With the little CDs and shit.
Purity9x at AOL.com.
And so it was this email where it told a story about how NASA was going to send a probe to Jupiter or something, and the math wasn't working out, and they had to, and then there was some NASA astronomer scientist who was like, oh, but I remember from the Bible that Jesus made the sun stop for a day or something like that. And like, oh, so we have to factor that in.
Sun stop what?
Just moving across the sky.
What?
I don't know.
That would mean the Earth had to stop orbiting.
Right, but it's not. The Earth's the center of the universe. But anyway, so it was, and I never responded to it other than, thanks,
Grandma.
Thanks, Grandma.
Thanks, Nana. What'd you call your grandma? Was it a?
They were both mamas.
Mamas. Okay, see, mine was
Papas.
Nana and Papa. And Papa. All right.
So,
I just like how it's interesting how we all have different names for our grandma and grandpa.
So this is my mom's mom, and I just basically said thanks, and
thanks,
I didn't want to point out that
is wrong.
What Jesus did with the sun 2,000 years ago is irrelevant for us sending something to Jupiter, but today. And all that kind of stuff. But she had my climbing tree that I loved at her house. Yes. She also...
The sun stopped because JC didn't pay the bill.
I know, right?
Got to pay that electric bill.
She also had the drawer to the bottom left of the sink that had the Fig Newtons and the cookies.
Oh.
So I would go there
That just put an image in my head of a cookie jar. That was like maybe a dog cookie jar. Was this a cookie jar we had, Mom, or was it a grandparent cookie? It would not have been Anna Paula and Papa Al, but I'm just picturing now this cookie jar it must have been one we had of a dog, and I remember I would sneak cookies out of it. This is what I remember.
Sneak, quote unquote, sneak cookies.
But my house had the climbing tree.
Yes.
My house had a great climbing tree.
And I would love to go up to my climbing tree. So, your mom would love this. Your mom would love this. So, my grandmother lived in Hemingway, South Carolina, which is what we call the Low Country in South Carolina. It's near the coast.
Is that the banjo country?
No, but yes. But
okay.
Yes, it's near the coast.
Mm-hmm.
It's very flat, and then when you get up towards Columbia, it kind of rises a little bit.
This was pre-Sally. This was way pre-Sally. It had to have been pre-Sally. Maybe it wasn't pre-Sally. Anyway,
that's where I rode my first horse. My grandmother had horses, and she would, because she basically lived on this kind of farm, and my grandmother on my dad's side, very different, lived in a small town bigger than Oak Ridge, if you can believe that. in a town called Leesville, South Carolina. Collectively, it's known as Batesburg, Leesville. But yeah, I would go there and I would get Chef Boyardee, spaghetti and meatballs, and we would go.
SpaghettiOs.
We would go. She would always take me to the wagon wheel, which literally had a big fucking wagon wheel, and I would get a hamburger every time, a little cheeseburger. It was great. I miss them. I miss them greatly.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. So here's to everybody's grandmother around the world.
Yeah, well, I'm out of drink, so it's water for me. Cheers to grandparents.
Yeah, so the third thing I got from physics was when I did eventually come out as atheist to my parents. And my mom sent me a message that did physics do this for you?
Did physics do this?
I'm like, no, it was actually prior to physics, and it was
Way prior.
where you took me.
Way prior. I don't know. Just maybe the not making sense at all did it. Just
Yeah. I mean,
a little critical thinking exercise did it. That's what happened.
You say not making sense. That literally was in my head.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I said this. I know I've said it to you. I don't know if I said it in the podcast, but I was, basically 10 years old for me was a pivotal year. There were two things that I learned about myself that year. And one of them was I was at church at a children's sermon. So where all the little kids go up and we pretend to be good little Christian kids.
We do what our parents asked of us.
And yes, exactly. And then at the end we walk out and we have ice cream and shit. But anyway,
bribed with ice cream.
I'm looking out at the crowd.
And your 10-year-old mind, as it starts to develop its individuality, goes, wait a minute.
And it goes, literally, this doesn't make sense. And it kind of just turned everything. I don't even know what Pastor Amundsen was talking about. See, I even remember his name. Because we shared a birthday, actually. And so...
Yeah.
So I don't... what?
You just need to have faith. You just need to have faith.
So can we do
It's all about
faith,
faith.
the faith, the faith, by like George
faith.
Michael?
Yeah, you just gotta have faith. You just gotta have faith.
But
just have faith. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense, as long as you have faith.
But that's the problem, though, is that the faith.
Now, do you need to have Faith Hill?
Faith, but faith is not science.
No.
And so it's just not science, and I don't even know what Pastor Amundsen was talking about, but it just didn't.
The Lord,
yeah, in some
and your
kind of way.
sins, and you're in trouble.
But for me it was, but later that year it was like I'm really in trouble. But it was it really was. No, this doesn't make sense to me, and
it was the goddamn physics of the devil.
Physics.
The devil's physics.
And I do think that's why I had my mom's statement, and I had, my mom, she has degrees in biology. She is a very smart woman.
Very educated.
She's a very educated and smart woman.
Oh my God. Just listening to her. She has like the sweetest, like Southern woman voice, and just listening to her is just like, it's so soothing and it's so nice. And she could tell me to bless my heart and I wouldn't even care. I'd be like, oh, it just sounds so nice.
So she exceedingly smart and will do anything for people.
Yeah.
She really will.
Wonderful, sweet woman.
She is a wonderful person, and I really should strive to be more like my mom and dad, minus the religious part.
And the political part.
Yeah, in places, but so I think that physics forces people to think about things differently, and I can see where my mom would be like, so did the physics make you become atheist? And the answer is no. But I can also see where my grandmother was coming from, my mom, where she was coming from.
Yeah.
with it. Because
some would
just the
say
way it
that
seemed.
maybe you had a total eclipse of the heart. It's the little things that bring me joy, and I will give myself that little joy when I can, whether you laugh and appreciate it or not. I'm here for myself. And that is directed at anybody who just rolled their eyes after I said that.
Yeah. It's oh my gosh. All right, so thanks for listening to my family.
Your family history, a little insight into Fancy Physics Man and his mama.
And I still think
mama?
my parents eloped, but
Mama?
that's entirely.
You think they eloped?
Yeah,
You
in
think
case
they eloped?
mom and dad, in case you're listening, which I doubt you are, but in case you are, I still think you eloped. I do.
I mean, elopement is the way to. You know what? I like what we did, where it was just a really small, personal. None of the bells and whistles of the. Like I got that out of the way with the first marriage. It's like, all right, so now we can have the real wedding, where it's like just total, authentic, small, and just what is meaningful to us without all the bells and whistles. And I was and the only Bridezilla moment I had when I was worried that there wasn't enough food, there was. When there wasn't enough food, and I made my best friend and maid of honor go get Costco pizzas, because we're classy, and we definitely had enough food. But I was worried about there not being enough food. That was my only, I just want people fed, fat, and happy.
Oh God, nobody's gonna want to listen to this, but I loved our wedding. I loved that it was underneath that oak tree. Now that I can't ever get under again.
No, because my parents sold the house. We don't have it anymore. So you know how I feel about that, Mom. Jack says 90% of the weddings that he officiates are super small.
So Brandon
married us.
Brandon married us, and now we know Jack does weddings.
Yeah.
We should. All right. So when we renew our vows,
no, it should still be Brandon.
We'll have Jack and
Brandon. Jack and Brandon can tag team. It could be a Jack and Brandon tag team.
All right, Jack. We're gonna talk about getting you out in a few years because we're gonna do 10 years.
Thank
right?
you, Katie.
Anyway,
Thank you, Katie.
Is there anything else?
Katie said it was such a nice wedding. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a good time.
Is there anything else astronomy related?
Oh, no. The universe is there. Look at it. What was that?
I don't know, but
dogs are making
I
weird
think our
sounds.
dogs made a weird
Anyway,
noise.
I think that's a sign that we need to call it.
Right, but in 2 weeks we are going to talk about Vera Rubin.
Rubin!
All right, so as much as the Herschels were for Brandon, Vera Rubin's for me.
We've brought up Vera Rubin a bunch of times, but we've never centered on her, right?
No, we have never centered on her.
Okay.
And so, that's going to be in 2 weeks where we actually will get into this mysterious thing because we have to. We absolutely have to about dark matter. You can't. And it also relates to Fritz Wiki. So it does Wiki and Vera Rubin, but it is pretty much going to be 95% Vera Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm losing my voice.
Why are you losing your voice? You haven't even...
I don't know why I was losing
you sound like me after the Machine Head show last weekend.
Oh, God, that was such a great show.
Oh, my God. I saw one of my favorite bands, Machine Head, last weekend in Portland. And, guys, I was like... It was so good. It was so good. I felt like 17 again. It was so great.
And I'm going to say, there's not, to me, there's not a big gulf between metalheads and punks. And, obviously, we get along. You're a metalhead, I'm a punk. Mm-hmm. I had really and truly... just one of my best times at a concert.
Such a good concert.
It was really good concert. I really enjoyed Orbit Culture.
They,
They, to me, They had a stage presence.
It's very Swedish. They're Swedish. They're a Swedish metal band.
It's Swedish. All right, so
The Swedes like to bring a little performance.
I really do say that I want to enjoy that. That I want to say that I enjoyed all 4 bands. I really did. But to me, Orbit Culture was it was just fun, in kind of what to me is that classical metal way, and I don't have a lot of experience with metal.
Machine Head is the epitome
But
of
to
a good metal show right there.
but then Fear Factory came in, and Fear Factory was as close to, in a punk way, the dog's just made another noise. A punk way as close to I could get to like Suicidal Tendencies.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know how it's not thrash in any kind of way, but that was the feel to me. But then Machine Head, and then there was this Darkness song that they sang, which was really quite personal, that I really thoroughly enjoyed. It was a great show. And then we got to hang out with Katie and Adam, and it was a lot of fun.
Weekend. Anyway, it's a little insight into our personal lives right there.
So cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this episode of the Hangover.
Yes.
Hangover. Oh my God.
What?
Wow.
What did you want to call it?
For me to mess
Hangout? You wanted to
I
call it
almost
Hangout?
did. I almost did. Oh God.
Oh, if you called it Hangout.
Oh my God. I never let it down if I called it that.
Brandon and I would have had so much
but
fun.
I didn't.
No.
The Hangover with Cosmos and Cosmos. Thanks for listening to us. Follow us on all the things, Cosmos and Cosmos, where you get your podcasts and on social media, except for Twitter, at Drinking Cosmos. We'll see you next time with Vera Rubin.
Cheers, everybody.
And bye, everybody. All right, bye now. Now I got to take the time to shut down the stream. I got to go through all this lengthy processes of moving my mouse cursor because I could never find it. And now, officially,
Cheers.
goodbye.
Cheers.